State under his watch. Good evening to you, Your Excellency. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. So, Governor, it's been 5 years, 8 months since you took over as Governor of Nasarawa State. And I remember how hard it was. It was definitely a tall battle, particularly in the Northern Senatorial District where you come from. In 2019, your vision for the state is to transform Nasarawa State into a functional private sector-led economy. You promised to create opportunities for citizens. You talked about improving the quality of their lives and shape the state into a regional entrepreneurship hub. If you were to score yourself, would you give yourself a pass mark?
Well, I usually don't like giving myself a pass mark or a failure or any of those kind of scores. I allow other people to do that. But I will say so far so good. For sure, Nasarawa State is better than what we met it right now. So many things that Nasarawa State never had 5 years ago, today the state has most of those things. All the uncompleted projects have been completed with the exception of a road that is roughly about 63 kilometers that we are working on. We have done more new projects than even the ones we inherited. We have changed life here from the state capital, from more than just like a glorified local government headquarters into a full-fledged state capital today. We have been able to pay most of the outstandings. Is it in salaries? Is it in gratuities? Is it in that? We have engaged the state as to be the true solid mineral state by now having industries that have springing up in the area of lithium, tin mining, tantalite, and barite. We have been able actually to pay a lot of other students and engage students now into the area of vocational and technical education, something that we didn't have much of. We have established institutions into the area. We have strengthened the healthcare sector. And in fact, Nasarawa State was one of the 4 states that have been rated in the country by the Chatham House when it comes to the primary healthcare agencies in the country. Just today, we have received an award from Sasakawa among, again, another 4 states in the Federation that are known for making aggressive effort in the area of agriculture. And that's even the reason why I'm in Abuja today. So those are the kinds of progress that we have made so far in the various areas. Security-wise, we thank God Almighty, that the state has been able, to secure its borders with some states that have been having lots of challenges. Yes, we have 1 or 2 challenges here and there, but generally, in the North Central region, perhaps Nasarawa is the most peaceful state that you can think of. And that's why we continue to see so many investors that are rushing into the state, trying to establish one over the other. There is no week that goes by without me meeting 3 or 4 investors that are coming into Nasarawa State in the area of urban development, that is housing, in the area of healthcare, that is clinic and hospitals, in the area of agriculture or mining that has received most of the awards. We have received some of the biggest companies you can think of in the lithium mining, like CanMax, CATL, that have arrived in Nasarawa State to show that. So I can go on and on, and that's so far so good.
So congratulations to you on that award. But Mr. Governor, whenever I have an opportunity to speak with Northern governors, I'm always very concerned about education, which they say is the bedrock of any functioning society. Since elected in 2019, would you consider taking out-of-school children back to the classes a top priority of your administration? What have you done so far in ensuring that the issue of having uneducated children on the streets during learning hours is drastically reduced?
One thing that we did on arrival is we didn't, coming from my background of the private sector, I didn't want to just say we are investing money in education without even knowing where the money was going to go into. So first we engage the College of Sciences at the Federal University Lafayette into what we call a baseline survey to look at the 1,400 primary schools we have and the over 400 secondary schools we had, and to look at their needs, what it was that we did, and to look at the number of children we have out of school, whether it is actually girls' child or Almajiris and the rest of that, and to find out why they were out of school. That's what the baseline survey has been able to do. So what we did since I came in 2019, we had budgeted the highest chunk of these to education, highest chunk of our budget. In the year 2020 that we came in, actually 26%. In the year 2021, 31%. In the year 2023, 36%. And now we have gone back down to about 24%. So that's what we have done. So it's not just about, building the schools. We needed to know what they needed. So far, we have employed over 8,000 teachers for secondary schools, and we are employing about 2,000 teachers for primary schools. So now a lot of them, the teachers that we have had, probably you heard in the news, that there was actually a problem in the employment of some of the 1,000 teachers out of the 8,000 that we have engaged, and those people that we found, because of the importance we attach to education, that had done something wrong, we actually dismissed them from service, and we engage a fresh set of people, in order to go and carry out the exercise so it will be done. That's how much importance we attach to education.
And talking about investment, I know that at a point you agreed to partner with the World Bank in two educational sectors, the adolescent girls initiatives for learning and empowerment and the bilingual education, in order to cater for the out-of-school children in the States. How effective are these initiatives? Also, just recently, the federal government disbursed 6.7 billion naira grant to tackle out-of-school children in your state. What measures are on ground to ensure transparency in making sure that these funds meant for these projects are not just ways for some people to enrich themselves?
Well, you see, most of the monies meant for education are monies that are targeted for education, and there is no way you can even play around with them. When I talk about what happened during the employment of teachers, has nothing to do with money missing. It has to do more with the fact that the people that meant to be employed were not employed. Instead, we went into some corruption to engage some people that shouldn't have been employed as teachers. So that's what I'm talking about. As far as any program that has to do with World Bank, once we come into it, whatever is done is attached and directly to that aspect of education. If it is the Almajiri system that we had, we already have a program, and we have people who are driving this and being supervised by that. We have 3 major Almajiri schools that we have in Nasarawa State at the moment. They are being concluded. Everything that they have is jointly supervised by both the state government as well as the World Bank. So to make sure that it is in line with the design that had originally. So there is nothing we leave to chances, when it comes to that. And as far as the funding is concerned, there is no fund that is being spent outside that. So you said something about 7 billion. I didn't get that other aspect of it.
Let's talk about the creation of the North Central Development Commission, which I'm sure you're excited about. It looks like a new dawn for the region, and most importantly, should act as a catalyst to develop the arrays of potential of the North Central, as well as address the gaps in the infrastructural development of the region. And now that it has materialized, first, how committed are you and your colleagues to getting it up and running, and in particular put to work for the people?
Yeah, well, that before I say anything on the North Central Development Commission, I've always used the opportunity every time such has come up to show great appreciation to Mr. President, because we were the only state whatsoever, the only region whatsoever that didn't have a development commission. So we thank the National Assembly for driving that, and we thank Mr. President for actually assenting to that bill. In addition to that, I want to show great appreciation also to members of the National Assembly, that had driven it and made Nasarawa State, life here, to be specific, to be the headquarters of it. So we have been working in that area as far as that is concerned. Now, Development Commission, as the name implies, is meant to help the regions in the development of the entire states. And we have 6 states and the federal capital in this manner. So the first time it came up, in order for us not to run into some of the hitches that other development commissions have had, we called for a meeting where we met with the members of the National Assembly and discussed the various areas, of that. And that is exactly what we did. So we are engaging some consultants who are going to assist us by identifying the areas of our own development after visiting from one state to another. And that is what we are working on at the moment. So the management has not yet been set up. We're appealing to Mr. President to consider, setting up the management so that it can take off as quickly as possible.
But if you also put into consideration the enormous challenges bedeviling the region, I'm concerned about how the Commission would help bring the needed human capital to drive the developmental needs of the region, in particular, Nigeria in general.
Well, there is no reinventing the wheel in this process. There are other commissions. By the way, I come from the oil and gas sector. I remember originally, when the NCDC was put together, NDDC was put together, at the time, I was actually living in Port Harcourt. So it was meant to address a certain area of security as far as that is concerned. And then later on, it was expanded to training of the people and taking care of the pollution that was there. So it's the same thing, that I said. We are looking at specific, for instance, this is a region of agriculture. So we look at the competitive advantages. This is a region of mining. This is a region where education is key. This is a region where we look at our Almajiri systems. What do we need to do? So we have areas of our own competitive advantage, and that is what we are discussing with the management. But as I said, the management has not even been instituted yet, has been constituted yet. So we are working on that.
All right. Let's go back to Nasarawa State, Mr. Governor. As part of your infrastructure development drive, you're constructing an overpass and underpass in Lafia, amongst other projects. And some have argued that such venture is a misplaced priority. As some of your critics say, you adopted cosmetic approach to governance and seem to be more interested in endless inauguration of needless committees on every issue of governance. And they say you're gallivanting in the name of attracting investors to the state, rather than addressing the challenges bedeviling the state. What do you say?
Well, when you are in this kind of position, there is nothing you can do without somebody saying something negative about it or somebody criticizing it. When we came in from 2019 all the way to somewhere around 2023, we did nothing but developing the rural areas, opening the rural areas, creating the roads, working with the World Bank, either through ACRESAL or through NG Cares or through that, to open most of these areas so that agriculture was being boosted, promoting the areas, promoting education and the rest of that. So all those times, nobody has complained. So now we have to also promote. We can't be making, we cannot attract people if our cities are not also attractive. If our cities are congested by traffic, I hear a lot of complaints, for instance, for people living in Abuja going towards Kefi, you will hear a lot of complaints around Mararaba, around Masaka, and the rest of that. People will complain very badly about that. Today, if I go and I'm constructing an overhead, there, somebody will criticize it. So I think there are people who have less to do, and they have plenty of time just to sit down and criticize. And for that reason, you can't just give in to those kind of leadership. So there is no area of our own economy in Nasarawa State that we have not touched. There is no local government out of the 13 local government areas that we have not done one development or the other, one major road or the other, one opening of the rural areas or the other. And so the people on ground are always happy, and then every time you visit, those people are very happy. Agriculture has improved. Today, Nasarawa is #1 in some of the crops, like sesame, like yam production and the rest of that. We were not there before. Today, we are #5 in rice production in the country. We were not even #10 before. So those are the kinds of things that you will see. So, but when people complain, and this area that we are talking about is accident after accident after accident that people continue to have there. Take Kefi Market, for instance. When we were building the Kefi Market, some people complained that we are doing that. But this is a market that had burnt 5 times. Today, since we finished that market 2.5 years ago, there had not been fire incident once. But when we started building, people complain. You know, why are you building market? Why are you not building this? Why are you not? So I think criticism is part and parcel of the game, and we just, for me, I've already developed a thick skin that criticism doesn't bother me anymore.
All right. Your Excellency, let's take a break at this moment, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation. Stay with us, everyone.